If you're going to commit, commit. Don't whisper your promise like it's optional. Don't say maybe if your soul already knows it's a yes, and if you can't do it, say that. Own it. That's power too. But don't fake it. Don't dip your toe in and pretend you're swimming. This isn't the kind of life that rewards halfway. You either step in whole or step back with dignity. Because here's the truth that haunts us. It's not failure that keeps us up at night. It's the things we half did, the dreams we kinda tried, the goals we sorta chased. You never get peace from almost, but you do get peace from knowing. I gave it everything. I showed up. I found out. Maybe it wasn't for me, or maybe it was exactly what I needed, but at least, I found out. And here's the harder truth. Too many of us are out here living halfway lives, half-truths, half-dreams, half-versions of ourselves. Not because we can't, but because we won't hold ourselves accountable. We won't look ourselves in the mirror and ask, am I really giving it all? We celebrate others, we criticize others, but we forget to study ourselves, to push ourselves when we drift, to praise ourselves when we rise, to be our own standard. Someone once told me, you're too full of yourself, and I thought, who else am I supposed to be full of? It really stuck with me, because maybe, just maybe, the world would be a little better if more of us were actually full of who we truly are, whole, complete, all in. See, being full of yourself doesn't mean arrogance. It means alignment. It means you know who you are, and you're not afraid to show up as that person. Without apology, without shrinkage, without trying to fit into someone else's frame. And yet, so many people live as ghosts in the lives they're supposed to be living boldly. They quiet their voice. They lower their standards. They become a supporting role in their own story. Why? Because it's easier. Easier to doubt than to dare. Easier to stay safe than to stand tall. Easier to keep making excuses than to make change. But deep down, you feel it, that pull, that fire, that whisper in the dark saying, there's more for you. And, you know, it's not yelling, it's not dramatic, it's quiet, but relentless. And it won't leave you alone until you listen, until you act, until you stop abandoning yourself in moments that demand your full presence. Listen, you don't owe the world a perfect version of you. You owe yourself an honest one. You owe yourself the effort. You owe yourself the truth. You owe yourself a chance. Not to live a life of regrets, but to live a life of real. To look back one day and say, I didn't watch it happen. I made it happen. And that day, it won't be filled with fanfare. It won't look like a movie scene. It might just be a quiet morning, sipping coffee and realizing you kept your promise to yourself, that you followed through, even when no one was watching, even when it was hard, especially when it was hard, because that's when it matters most. The days when your energy is low, when your mind is clouded, when your confidence is quiet. And you still choose to move forward, still choose to believe, still choose to show up. That's not a small win. That's a triumph. You don't need loud applause to validate your worth. You need quiet conviction to carry your truth. And truth, it's not always glamorous. Sometimes it's tears in the car, sometimes it's silence in a crowded room, sometimes it's simply saying, I'm still here. But that's where power lives, in staying, in showing up again, in being willing to rebuild yourself, even when you feel broken, especially then. The world may not hand you clarity, it may not hand you fairness, but it will hand you choices. And you know, the biggest one? Believe in yourself, not because you're always right, but because you're worth betting on, every single time. When the crowd goes quiet, when the spotlight fades, when all you hear is your own breath and the sound of your own steps, just keep walking, keep rising, keep becoming, because you are not here to merely survive life. You're here to shape it, to live it with heart, to build something true. Your story matters, not when it's perfect, but when it's real. And honestly, there is nothing more powerful than a human being who believes in who they're becoming, even when it's messy, even when it's uncertain, especially then. That's what courage looks like, that's what transformation feels like, and that is what believing in yourself really means. So don't wait for permission, don't wait for the stars to align, don't wait for the fear to go away, because honestly it won't. But you can move with it, you can walk with trembling legs, you can speak with a shaky voice. And that still counts. That still matters. That still builds you. Start now, wherever you are, with whatever you have. Start with confusion. Start with questions. Start with your heart pounding in your chest. But just start. Because momentum doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from doing something. From doing the next right thing. And each step you take, even if it's small, is a seed you plant in your future. Every act of courage is a commitment to yourself. And the more you commit, the more you believe. It's not really the other way around. Belief follows action, confidence follows consistency, and honestly it's built not in one grand leap, but in 1,000 tiny choices to keep going. The kind you make in the dark, when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when there is no reward except the one you feel deep inside. I showed up today. Those moments compound, they grow into resilience, they shape your identity. Until one day, you no longer need to borrow confidence from others. You carry your own, and you walk into rooms not hoping they like you, but knowing you already like yourself. That's the kind of self-belief you're building, not loud, but unshakable, not boastful, but undeniable. And one day you'll realize, yeah, you didn't need more validation, you just needed more vision, more patience, more grit, more self-love in the form of discipline. Not the soft, fluffy kind, but the strong, committed kind that says, I love you enough not to quit on you. You'll see then. Belief was never a moment. It was a journey. And you've been walking it all along, and you're still walking, still learning, still evolving. Because honestly, the destination was never the point. The point was who you would become on the way there. And look at you now, not finished, but forming, not flawless, but focused, not perfect, but powerful. You've come too far to only come this far, so just keep going. Not because it's easy, but because you've tasted the strength of trusting yourself. That kind of belief can't be bought, it has to be earned. And you're earning it day by day, word by word, step by step. So just take this next breath and know you are capable, you are worthy, you are ready. Not because you have all the answers, but because you're willing to ask the right questions and face what comes next with an open heart. That's belief, that's bravery, that's you.